Let's learn how to name alkanes. So, the first thing you need to do in order to name an alkane is you have to identify the parent chain, which is the longest continuous carbon chain. And this can be vertical, horizontal, it could go in multiple directions. For example, let's say that I have this molecule. Let's see. Let's make it this way. Let's say that I have this molecule. Let's go ahead and try to identify the longest continuous carbon chain. Let's say that I think that my longest carbon chain is this horizontal one. I can number the carbons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is a 6 carbon chain. I could also go this way, for example. I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So my longest continuous carbon chain here is a 7 carbon chain, and it must be this one. It is really important to be able to identify the parent chain correctly. So make sure to try different possible pathways and choose the longest one. Once you have figured out what your longest chain is, you can use a prefix to identify this chain. Here I said that I had 7 carbons. So for 7 carbons, the prefix is hapt. Because we're dealing with alkanes, which means we have all single bonds from carbon to carbon, single bond carbon carbon bonds, we will end in ane. So here, my parent chain would be named haptane. This is haptane. Hapt because I have 7 carbons, ane because I'm dealing with an alkane. After I have figured out the parent chain, the second step is to number it correctly. So what we will need to do is we will have to locate groups that are attached to the parent chain. For example, if this is my parent chain and this molecule, these two groups are attached to it that I have circled in purple. These are called substituents. And when we number the parent chain, we will number from the end closest to the first substituent. For example, here I number 1, 2. My first substituent is on carbon number 2. If I started numbering from this end, 1, 2, 3, my first substituent would be on carbon 3, which is worse. So for this reason, in this case, I have to start numbering from the left side to give my first substituent the lowest number. After I have numbered my parent chain correctly, I then have to name my substituents. So for example, for the substituents, I could have multiple possibilities. They could be halogens. Halogens are group 17 atoms. For example, chlorine, bromine, iodine. And to name them, we end them in O. If I have a chlorine attached, this is called chloro. If I have a bromine attached, it's called bromo. If I have an iodine attached, this is called iodum. I could also have alkyl substituents, which are hydrocarbon groups. If I have one carbon CH3 attached, this is called methyl. And again, we're using the prefixes here. Meth is one. That's why the substituent is called methyl. And alkyl substituents will end in ill. So meth because I have one carbon, ill because it's a substituent, methyl. Ethyl when I have 2 carbons. Propyl if I have 3 carbons. You could also have more complicated substituents. This is isopropyl. It's a 3 carbon chain that's attached through the middle, through the second carbon to the parent chain. This is called isopropyl. I could also have different butyl groups. I could have seg-butyl because it's attached through the second carbon to the parent chain. Butyl means I have 4 carbons. This is isobutyl. This is third butyl. And I could have a benzene ring attached, which is called phenyl. You might have to memorize all of these names and the structures. I would say third butyl and isopropyl are the most popular ones. After you have, in order to name your substituent correctly, what you will do is you will put the name of the substituent, but before it, you will put the number which represents the carbon to which your substituent is attached. For example, my chlorine is on carbon 2, and so I will write 2 dash chloro. My methyl group is on carbon 4, so I will write 4 dash methyl. So first, just to repeat myself, I identified the parent chain, I numbered it properly, and then I named my substituents with the numbers. Now I can put my name together. In order to put your name together, we will use alphabetical order. First, we put the substituents in alphabetical order, followed by the name of the parent chain. For example, here, this was 2-chloro, this is for 4-methyl. Chloro, C is before M. So, alphabetically, chloro should go before methyl. It is not connected to the numbers. They could have any numbers. We're just putting them in alphabetical order. 2-chloro, 4-methyl, and then the parent chain has 6 carbons, which means that I have a hexane. So this molecule is 2-chloro, 4-methyl hexane. What do we do if we have the same multiple substituents on the parent chain? For example, if I name my substituents on this molecule, I will have 2-methyl and 4-methyl. I have 2 methyl groups. Instead of writing all of them out, I can group them together. And I will use prefixes di, tri, or tetra. Di for 2, tri for 3, and tetra for 4. So here, instead of saying 2-methyl, 4-methyl hexane, I will group them together. And I need to include the numbers to represent the carbons that my methyl groups are attached to. So I will have 2, 4 dimethyl, di because I have 2 of the same groups, 2 methyl groups. 2 because one of the methyl groups is on carbon 2. 4 because one of the methyl groups is on number 4. 2,4-dimethyl hexane is the name of my molecule.